Okay, so we're now going to do Hilchos Megilah, וחנוכה, with the emphasis on the Megillah in preparation for Purim. And just to note, I know we said this before, but there's the classic question. It should either be Hilchos Megilah v'ner Chanukah, or Hala, or it should be Hilchos Purim v'Chanukah. So it's interesting he says Megillah v'Chanukah. Yesh bichlalan shtei mitzvos aseh midivrei sofrim ve'inam min minion uver shtei mitzvos elu biprakim elu. That's a generous footnote there. Let's read that footnote. Minion hamitzvos midivrei sofrim mitkanas chachamim midrabanan. Okay, fine. So let's just explain what midivrei sofrim is. Ve'inam min minion. Inam min minion taryag mitzvos ela mitkanas chachamim. Okay, fine. So it's not from the 613, but it's one of the takanas chachamim. Tom Krias Megillah b'Purim. Oh, I want to reread this. We read this earlier in the year also. Yeah. This is at the end of the Minion HaMitzvos in the Mishnah Torah. Shanavim. So what's the idea of Krias Megillah? The reason for Krias Megillah. Shahanavim im based in tiknu v'tzivu likros HaMegillah ba'onasa. That the Nevi'im with based in decreed and commanded to read the Megillah in its time. Kedei lahazkir shvachav shel Kadosh Baruch Hu, in order to recount the praises of God, uteshuos she'ata lanu, and the salvations that He did for us, or wrought for us, if you want to be fancy. And He was close to our outcry. In order, meaning this is going, levarcho is going back on likros, right? Likros in order to bless Him and praise Him. In order to make known to the later generations, the coming generations, that it is true what the Torah promised us. Who is the great God who is close to us, and that is the whole Kareinu whenever we call to Him. And in this manner is every mitzvah that is derabanan, whether it is asay and lotosay. He doesn't mean that it's for the same purpose. He means that it has a purpose that's rooted in the Torah. Megillah. Yeah, that is a concept I want to explore a little bit later on, because I do still feel like if you asked people, you did one of those man on the street interviews, and you asked Jews, what idea does Purim come to teach us? They definitely would talk about God's salvation, but salvation in response to tefillah, I think is not the first thing that comes to people's minds. And even in the Megillah itself, it sounds like God's responding to their tinus, there's no actual depiction of the Jews davening, even though surely they davened because they're doing Zakah B'Etzara, but yeah. So there's something to keep in mind that I want to explore a little bit more. Okay, so let's go. Perak Rishon, Krias HaMegillah Bizmanah, different phrase than Ba'onasa. I don't know what the difference between Ona and Zman is. The reading of the Megillah in its time, mitzvahs aseh midivrei sofrim. It is a positive command from the Rabbanan.
And it's interesting that I remember from Hanukkah, he starts with the whole story.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah, correct. Right. So I think there is a good reason for that, though. Yeah, and I've heard that explained in the context of the Mishnah Torah as Torah Sheba'al Peh, that it appears with Torah B'Ksav. So if you have the story in Torah B'Ksav, then that's kind of assumed that you're already reading that. Like you said, person will read Torah B'Ksav first and then read this and know Torah B'Kula, but you would not get the Hanukkah story from Torah B'Ksav. Yeah, good observation though. All right, Hadvarim Yeduim, Shehi Takanas Nevi'im. Such a strange statement. And the matters are known that it is a Takana of the Nevi'im. I guess probably, what would you guys be referring to there?
The fact that they needed a W to be Misaki.
I was understanding the shot differently. That he's saying it is known that Megillah is at Takanas Nevi'im, not that Megillah required Nevi'im to be Misaki in it. I mean, historical fact. This is a well-known fact that Megillah was established by Nevi'im.
Yeah.
I think probably because it talks about the establishment of the holiday at the end of the Megillah. Okay. And that I guess it's known that Mordechai and Esther were Nevi'im, and that they needed to, let's say, for example, the history of Hanukkah, of how Hanukkah was made into a holiday. Who knows that? I mean, I don't know that. We had that thing that the Rav said that Ner Hanukkah wasn't introduced until after the Korban Bayis. I have no idea how when Hanukkah, But the story of the establishment of Megillah is like well known from the text, and I think probably because it's in the text, people know about a bunch of other stuff also about like petitioning the Sanhedrin and stuff. That's my guess. I don't know for sure. V'kol chayav b'kriyatza. Everyone is obligated in its reading. Nashim v'nashim v'gerim v'avadim v'shuchrarim. Men, women, converts. Here I assume it's Geri Tzedek. Servants who are freed. That's interesting also. Wait, regular avadim are not chayav?
Yeah, yes, no.
That's weird, though, right? Because usually avadim and nashim are chayav in mitzvahs she'enan shalot man grama.
Weird.
Yeah, I've never noticed that before. But no.
Well, I guess women are only included because.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, but then if you're Evan Meshuchrar, you become Jewish.
Right.
So I mean, you're not halakhically different than a ger, right? And let's look at the footnote here. Avadim Meshuchrarim. Every kanami shenitbal l'shem avdus v'hishtacher tova v'dino ki Yisrael kol davar. So maybe he means someone who has not yet toveled, like he's in this like halfway state.
Right.
Yeah, there's an article in the recent Chakira magazine about what the status is. I didn't read it yet. About what the status is of Jews. Let's say like a Jewish male who is preparing to convert, and let's say like, I don't know, let's say like he gets Mila and then he's on his way to the mikvah and then he just dies of a heart attack. So like, do you bury him in a Jewish cemetery or not? And like that article started to deal with like these in-between cases, and sounds like this is in-between case because if he were freed and he did Mila and Tvila, he would be a full ger,
Right.
Yeah, or a full Jew. Okay, unless he's just spelling it out in the same way that like, I don't know, unless he's just spelling it out that it is a different, his Jewish status did come about in a different way than the Garrett did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, right. I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. And we train the children to read it. Now I don't know. What was that?
More.
You mean in terms of like the actual kriya?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you're Rabbi Maruf's daughter, for her bas mitzvah, learned to read the entire Megillah and did Megillah readings for women, which I think is like the coolest like bat mitzvah project I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
I don't know where the Rambam's first mention of chinuch is. I'm just going to check in the index and see if, this is not the full index one. All right, I have the index here. This Rambam needs to be put in Geniza. Chinuch. Okay, so he talks about Talmud Torah chinuch. I'm looking for mitzvos. Chinuch mitzvos. Okay, so Shabbos 12:7 and 24:11 are the first places where he mentions chinuch for mitzvos. Why they don't list this one though? I guess the reason why I'm bringing it up is this, like, why does he need to mention that if chinuch is something we usually do? Can we actually, do you mind? We look at those two halachos really quick.
Sure.
All right, let's look at so Shabbos. What did I just say? Shabbos 12:7. I'm just going to stop sharing and share the. I'm guessing that's talking about training them to keep Shabbos.
No.
Well. Oh, interesting. Right. Not so if a non-Jew comes to extinguish a fire, we don't say extinguish and don't extinguish. Because his resting is not our responsibility. But a katan who comes to extinguish, we don't listen to him. This is if he's acting on behalf of his father. If he's doing it on his own volition, Beis is not commanded to separate him. But with like a large fire, they permitted to say, anyone who extinguishes will not lose. Right? That's the classic thing. All right, so that's not really about chinuch per se. That's about being mitzvah to remove from Israel. What about Shabbos 24:11? No,
No.
similar thing, similar case about what we tell them to do or not do.
Hmm.
I thought there was one in lulav, but I'm not seeing the reference here. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Yes, I guess I don't know. I don't know what to make of the fact that the Rambam says "Machanfin lekrota." Yeah, all right. Leave it for now. Okay, next. Vafilu kohanim ba'avodasam mevatlin avodasam ubayin lishmoa mikra Megillah. Again, here in my woeful lack of knowledge of Mikdash, I don't know if this is an exceptional case. Like it sounds really exceptional, but you know,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. And regardless of whether it's exceptional or not, it is very weird because avoda is like the oraisa,
Yeah.
Ms. Durbanan. And it's not like, I mean, you got all day.
Hmm.
And you don't have, I mean, I guess you also have all day for Mikdash stuff, depending on what it is, but yeah, weird. V'chein mevatin Talmud Torah le Mikra Megillah. Oh, even bigger. We're also mevatel Talmud Torah for Mikra Megillah. Kol v'chomer l'shar mitzvot shel Torah. Wow, okay, this is a weird opening. All the more so for the other mitzvahs of the Torah. Kulan nidichin mipnei Mikra Megillah. All of them are pushed aside because of Mikra Megillah. Ve'in lecha davar shenidcha Mikra Megillah mipanav chutz mimetz she'en lo kovrin. There's nothing that stands in the way. There's nothing that is ein lecha davar shenidcha Mikra Megillah mipanav. There's nothing that Mikra Megillah is pushed aside beforehand because of except for a dead body that has no barriers. Because the one who encounters it first should bury it and then he should read. Yeah, that's an explosive opening of the halachos section.
Mhm.
I mean, you definitely get this impression that it's very, very important. That's the right. Everyone is obligated in it. You train the kids. You're not mavatal. You're mavatal livor. You're not mavatal yet. Yeah.
Is that like because it's a derabbanan, like that you really like this is really important?
That's a good question. I'm inclined to say that it's because of the like the tom of the thing, not because it's derabbanan. Because there are a lot of derabbanans we don't.
Yeah.
Netilas yadayim on bread, you know, brachos tefillah, like it's
Sure.
yeah, very very strange. Yeah, I've never actually looked into the sugya either. Like we're of in the Gemaras about this. Let's look at the footnote here on Haktanim. Ben Hakatan Migil Yud Gimel Shanav Yom Echad Bas Katan Migil Yud Beis Shanav Yom Echad Oshalo Haviv Shteitz Arot B'Makom HaErva Shem Chayav Mikros Megillah Midin Chinuch. Okay. Oh, what? נחלות? Is that what he talks about, Chinuch?
No.
Let me look that up. נחלות. I would not put it. I would not guess that. Stop share.
That's in
Mishpatim.
Yeah.
Oh, I finally get to click on my Sefer Mishpatim. The Sefer Mishpatim, I think it is clicked by me even less than like Sefer, than like the Tum and Tahara stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. נחלות, what did he say? Yud,
Yud.
Yud Aleph Yud? Okay. Yud Aleph Yud. Oh, interesting. Apotropin, that's how you say it, I think. So this is the like custodians. Look at the where's the introduction to this topic here?
No.
Yeah, I keep on going off also. Okay, the very first halacha.
Okay.
Ma'ul shel yisomim sheniach lahen avihen in prikon apotropos allocated osin behen. So the context of this whole thing is if you have orphans that were bequeathed money, then and I presume that they're still minors, then what do we do with them? Okay, so then now going back to what we were looking at here in Yud, ha'apotropin osin l'kanim sukkah v'lula v'titit v'shofar v'sefer Torah tefillin mitzvot Megillah. Okay, so apotropin do for them or make for them? I don't know how to read that. Klal shadavar kol mitzvos aseh sheish la kitzba bein shehi midivrei sofrim bein shehi midivrei bein shehi midivrei Torah bein shehi midivrei sofrim osin lahem af pi she'enan chayav b'mitzvah mikol hamitzvos ela kedei l'chanchan. Okay, interesting. So I guess it's talking about spending their money on these mitzvos, right? Like in other words, if you are an orphan and then your guardian and you have like money from your father, then your guardian can buy you a sukkah,
Mhm.
even though it's only for chinuch.
I see.
Yeah. אבל אין פוסקין עליהם צדקה ואפילו לפדיון שבויים מפני שמצוות אלו אין להן קצבה. Okay, fine. That's interesting. That's a weird place to mention chinuch.
Yeah. There's all
Orphans.
the way at the end.
Yeah. I really thought that there was another one in there in like Shofar Sukkah Belulav. All right, I'll have a look at it later. All right. Then okay, fine. That was the opening. Onward, Echad HaKoreh. By the way, here's another thing also, is he doesn't introduce the mitzvah in the traditional way. Mitzvah likros es Mgilah pa'amayim biyom Purim, echad b'layla v'echad b'yom.
Yeah, that's weird.
You know, it's Krias Megilah b'zmana, and then who is obligated and what links they have to go through to do it. And then this next one, echad hakoreh v'echad hashomea min hakoreh yasi dechavasel. So one who reads and one who listens from the reader has fulfilled his obligation. And that is that he hears it, provided that he hears from someone who is obligated in his reading. So therefore, if the reader was a katan, which I guess this shows that being chayav mipnei chinuch does not count as being chayav in the mitzvah. Okay, I mean, pretty obvious, but Oshota, Hashemea Mimena Lo Yatsa. So then one who hears from him is not Yotze.
It can be, maybe he's like describing the way that people normally experience the mitzvah. Like people usually aren't reading it themselves, like they're usually hearing.
Yeah, that's true. But then he does introduce it as a Kriya from Megillah.
Yeah, so that is what it is, but it's
I mean, it still is weird that he doesn't like introduce it by saying that you have to read it. You know, I'm curious how he introduces the mitzvah to of Kriya the Torah.
Yeah.
Can we check that out?
Sure.
You know where to find it?
Yeah, I actually just read this on Shabbos.
Oh, nice.
I don't, not like the whole thing.
I think it's in, yeah, Tefillah, I think it's 10, or am I making that up? Tefillah, no, not 10. 12, 11?
Yeah, 12.
12, okay. Tefillah 12. Moshe ben Tikin lahem Yisrael, shiu korim b'Torah b'ravim b'Shabbos b'sheni v'chamishi b'shachris k'dei shelo yishu shlosh yamim b'loch mi'as Torah. Right. See, that's what I would expect.
Right.
Right. Is that you know, that they were masakin to read the Megillah, you know, on B'leil Purim and Yom Purim.
Yeah.
And here also you're listening to it. Now I know the structure of the mitzvah is different. Yeah. Oh, by the way, that's a weird machlokas. I saw there's a shita. I forgot which Rishon it is. There's a shita who hold that women are not chayav in Kriyas Megillah; they're chayav in Shmiyas Megillah. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Yeah. Oh, another thing also, just to note, if I ask you just point blank, what are the preconditions to be Yotei Shemei Ka'oneh? Like in other words, what would you have to do to be Yotei Mitzvah Shemei Ka'oneh?
You'd have to listen, have kavana that you're going to be Yotei.
Okay.
And the other person has to be that you're going to be Yotei.
Okay.
And they have to be someone who's chayav.
Okay, good. So why doesn't the Rambam mention that you have to have kavana to be Yotei?
I guess you don't have to.
Yeah. So I'm fairly certain that this is the Rambam Shita, that only by brachos and tefillah do you have to have kavana. And I just want to show you, just compare it to brachos. Look at, where would he talk about it in, I think it's in Hilchos Brachos. Let me see. Yeah, look at Hilchos Brachos, Aleph, Yod Aleph. Got it?
No. Aleph Yod Aleph?
Yeah. Kol hatamei bracha min habrachos mitchilat hatova v'nischaven latzeis ba yidei chavaso yatsa v'av pi shelo ana amen. Kol ona amen achar hamavarach harzim k'mavarach v'ushi hamavarach chayav b'os habracha. Hay hamavarach chayav midivrei sofrim v'haona chayav min haTorah lo yatsa yidei chavaso ad sheyane o yishma mimishu chayav ba min haTorah k'moto. So I think it must be a machlokas rishonim that because I mean I feel like everyone, or maybe I don't know, certainly here they announce when you hear the Megillah that you have to have in mind to be Yote Shemei Ka'oneh.
Right.
You know, but I'm pretty sure the Rambam does not poskin that way as we see from here,
Yeah.
which would mean also just as not as a psat, but like if you forgot to have kavanah or something like that, it sounds like the Rambam would say you're Yotze, you know? Yeah. And I also remember looking at the source of it's been a while since I looked at it, but the source in the Gemara for Shemei Ka'oneh Bichlal is this instance, I forgot which king it was. Someone read a sefer in front of the king, and then the pasuk says that it describes the reading to the king.
Oh,
you know, it might be Yirmiyahu. Yeah, I'm not sure though. And I remember Rabbi Zucker made the point that like, and again, this kind of depends on how much you read into drashos. But Rabbi Zucker made the point that like, what are you going to say that he had in mind Shemek Oneh? You know, but yeah, okay. And also when we did, no, maybe you didn't talk about it in Hollow. Never mind. Yeah. Okay, but here certainly you have to, but the thing is, you definitely have to be five on the same level, right? Okay. Mitzvah likros et kula. Okay, now he's trying to get into what the mitzvah is. Is a mitzvah to read all of it? Right, because that I know is also machlokas in the Gemara about how much you read. Yeah. Mitzvah likrosa balayla uvayam. See, now he finally gets to it. It's mitzvah to read it by night and by day. Yeah. V'chol halayla kasher l'kreis halayla. All night is fit for the reading of the night. Whole yom kasher l'kreis yom, and all day is fit for the reading of the day. Umavarech kodem kriyasa balayla shalosh brachot, and you bless beforehand when you read it at night 3 brachot. Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mikra Megillah. So on the reading of Megillah. Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam she'ata nitim la'achim b'yamim hem b'zman hazeh. The one who did miracles for our fathers in those days at the time, and Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam she'achiyanu v'kimanu v'higyanu la'zaman hazeh, who gave us life and preserved us and brought us to the time. Uvayom eino chozer mevar she'achiyanu. On the day, you do not go back and make a she'achiyanu. Yeah, I know there's a whole question here about what if you missed she'achiyanu on the no. Never mind.
I think Toso says you do say that.
Okay, yeah. Meaning and at night?
I think so. Or maybe not at night and only in the day.
Interesting.
Because like morning is Aker.
Right. Not familiar. Which is also strange. A makom that is knowing to be mevarach afterward, mevarach. So then they make the bracha. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, hakel harav et rivenu v'hadan asinenu. So the God who takes up our cause, I guess is the loose translation, v'hadan asinenu, and who judges our judgment or our case, v'hanokim es nikmasenu, and who takes vengeance, who takes vengeance on our behalf, v'hanifra lanu mitarenu, and who, I guess, nifra is weird. Because I would have been tempted to translate it as, see, the footnote says, nifra is mishalim lo'evinu kugamulam, who pays back our enemies according to their just deserts, like Puranus. I just don't know what the nifra is in the, you know.
Wasn't that the next one? Weird.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Unless oive nafshenu is different than sarenu. For example, like Haman might be an oive nafshenu, but all the people who would have joined in with him might be just misarenu. I don't know. And he paid back retribution for all of the enemies of our soul. Baruch Hashem, hakel hanifra la'amo Yisrael mikol tzarehem, hakel hamoshia. Blessed be Hashem, the God who exacts retribution for his people Israel from all of their enemies, the God, the Savior. So this is the thing I don't understand is like this, is I know we have a pretty hardcore principle here that we don't make brachos that Ezra and the Anshe Knesset Gadol didn't establish. And like for that reason, we at least are noheg to not say brachos that are of dubious origin, you know, like Hanasan La'ef Koach. But like the Rambam has this thing of people who are noheg to say the bracha. So does that mean that he holds that the bracha came about as a result of a minhag, or does he mean that like it was instituted as a minhag by Chazal? Yeah, it's strange. I just want to. I'll look at my own time, I guess, but I wonder if Catholic does anything there. Yeah, either way, it is strange. And the category of the bracha is also strange. Like how many mitzvos, and there are mitzvos, but how many mitzvos can you think of where we say a bracha after it?
Yeah.
There's Mila,
Ah,
I think, right?
Yeah.
I think, or am I imagining that?
here's the Torah we do.
Priest the Torah we do, right? What else am I thinking of? C46 Mitzrayim, Magid. I just want to make sure I'm not going crazy here.
Eating.
Mila.
Eating.
What was that?
Eating.
Are you saying Mila?
Eating.
Oh, eating.
Eating.
Eating. Oh, yeah. No, I'm saying a mitzvah that we say a bracha before and after.
But isn't
No.
Hilchos Mazon Deraisa?
Yeah, but eating is not a mitzvah.
Oh.
Like I'm saying, like when do we do a mitzvah that we say brachos before doing the mitzvah and we say brachos after doing the mitzvah? Like you say brachos before Hanukkah candles, but you don't say brachos after Hanukkah candles.
Pseudo shot.
Ah, beautiful. For Mila, it is Hamal Hamavarach Kodem Shimo Brach Al Hamila blah 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 blah. Iyun Mavarach Brach Acheres. Oh no, this bracha is beforehand. Wait, is there not? Why am I thinking? It's been a while. I was actually thinking about it this morning. It's been so long. I've not been at like a simcha for a very long time, you know. And it's yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fine. What's the next halacha? All right, next halacha is the zmanim. I think it's a good place to stop for today because we're like 3 minutes from the end. That's okay. And then we'll start off with the zmanim tomorrow. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Yeah.